Hey everyone, this is Brian White. I'm going to do a quick unedited, unscripted demonstration for you guys regarding backtesting. I have a number of students who are a little bit confused, and it's easier to show you what I do as far as backtesting. It's just one way we can backtest. There's a number of ways you can do it, but here's the way I do it. You can do it with the OTA strategy. You can also do it with the simple strategy. OTA is a little more time consuming. You've got to be a little more subjective. The simple strategy, which I use for day trading only, is a little more mechanical, so I can get signals quicker. I can show you how I backtest. This will be a two-part video. Part one is just going to show you how I do it on my chart. So let's just get to the chart so I can show you instead of talking through it. All right, so I'm currently in a trade, looks like, with a simple strategy. Who knows how that'll work out. Everything's already preset, but I have set up already to do a test, a back test on the dollar Swiss, even in the midst of the craziness. And you can see this is the candlestick. It's a little bit messy right now because I prepared for back testing. What I do is I have to find out with the simple strategy what the range, the ATR range is. So what I've done is I've created a spreadsheet that I use for back testing, and I've already pre-put in the numbers that I'm going to use. I started with 8/1/2014, and if you notice down here on the spreadsheet, I've created a chart that shows me what the average true range is, which for the US Swiss I used 65.8, which you'll see right here. That's where I got that number from. So when I get ready to input, I put 65.8. I just assume the spread's going to be about 3 or 4, and that gives me a range bar of 7 and a spread with the range of 11. You'll see 11 automatically populates, and I'll go over this whole spreadsheet on part 2, but pretty much is automated except for you're entering the basic entries, dates, time of day, and exit. Very, very simple. But this gives me my start of how I'm going to backtest. It tells me that my range bars need to be 7, and now I'm going to go over here and show you how to do this in TradeStation. You go to Format Symbol, and we'll go down to Range, and you'll see 0.0007. Now remember, if you use yen pairs, there's only 2 digits, but in this regular pair, it's a 4-digit number. You want 0.0007 as we found, and I'm just going to put 12 months back. I really just need to get to August 1st. That's how I want to start mine, since that's where my target is, or my time date is. And it starts populating everything for you. Now there's a number of ways you can do this strategy, back testing. This is just something I found that with the simple strategy, it's very, very quick, relatively quick, and easy to do. So here's the chart, and let me explain to you what's on the chart. This is range bars. These are Bollinger Bands, if you're unfamiliar with Bollinger Bands. This is the MACD. This is the RSI, and this is momentum. Momentum is not necessary, nor is the RSI. They recommend the RSI, but it's not necessary according to the book and the author of the strategy. So as we're looking here, let me just describe what I'm showing, what you're seeing here on your screen. You'll see green, black, and red. Green illustrates pressure up, obviously, red pressure down. But Glenn Phillips, one of our group members, has also been able to paint these bars for us, the green, black, and red, based on different things. He programmed it to do so. And he also programmed these little dots below the green and the red dots above the green. Those are indicators that our rules are applied. That means, so for instance, if I want to be long, I'm looking for a green bar that's tagging against the Bollinger Band. Tagging means touching the Bollinger Band, and this one is, and it has a dot on it. Well, there's the dot. What that tells me is at this point where I put my cursor, that line, that the MACD is above the signal line, the RSI is above 70. It does not have anything to do with momentum, so don't even worry about momentum, but it tells me that these 2 elements of my trading strategy are working. So I need to be looking to see if I'm going to buy on this. Okay, and the same thing applies with the red. I always look for a red with a dot, and then I look at my signals to see if they apply. So what I'll do is, that just gives you a basic intro to the chart. I'm going to slide all the way back to 8/1. Let's see, and I always like to do this so I know where I started my test, so if I ever do another test later on, I know where it's at. And I would set my vertical line to black and thick. All right, let me fix that there. I have no idea where price is at, so if I don't know where price is at, I can always come up to the data view, and I can just click on an area. It tells me 90-50, area 90-50, so I need to be rolling down a little. There it is. I'll get rid of that for our time being. And I slide this as far right as I can get. And since these, let me slide this down so we can get more look on our chart. There we go. This is what I do. I'll skip this for our lesson of what I'm doing, but this is what I do. I start on the far side, as far as I can go. And you'll notice there is a green bar with a green dot, so that tells me this is high. And what the key is for the simple strategy is to find when the Bollinger Band is pointing up, and this is for long. If the Bollinger Band is pointing up, the MACD is pointing up, the RSI is pointing up, and for me and my personal rules, the momentum has to be either flat or pointing up to be long. It cannot be pointing down. And as I look at this and I put my little line on it, to me it's starting to turn down. So I would not mark that one. There's a second bar that I'd scroll one more. Now I'm noticing that all three indicators are pointing up. I will come in here and I'm just marking this. This would be a signal that I would most likely take. So I mark that and I scroll one more bar. Now once I'm in a trade, like this, I'm in this trade, I do not get back into a trade or I do not add to my trade until I see a separation, such as this right here, a separation from the Bollinger Band, and wait for price to re-engage. And right here it's re-engaged, but if you look at it, it's flat and showing going downward. I would not take it then. So I continue looking for those signals that I would take. And I keep scrolling. I'm just using my arrow key to scroll down, and I'm looking at this one. Now if you notice this was telling me to be short. MACD follows the rules. RSI is below 30, but it's pointing up, so I will not take that one. And I go on and look for another one. There's another one. And those are pointing up as well, so I'll continue looking for, all I'm looking for is signals that fit my rules. And once I find them that fit my rules, I make a line to indicate that would be a trade that I would most likely take. And this would be one I would take. And I do this all the way through to present day. That gives me about a 6 months history. That's quite extensive of a back testing. A lot of times you'll hear people say get 40 trades, 50 trades. I want to know if this thing's going to work or not, and if my eyes are seeing it properly. I want to make sure that my eyes are seeing it properly, because just because it's a signal for somebody may not be a signal for me. And if I'm missing them, I want to know why I'm missing them. And the simple strategy is very easy in regards to, so if I'm going to put a data window up here just so you can see, and I'll illustrate this a little bit more in part 2. But if you notice, if I highlight my line that I put there, you'll see right here the information that on that particular time. It tells us the time that signal was given. It tells us the low, in this case 9064. So my entry point would be 9063 on the next bar. If it doesn't get down to 9063, I'm not in the trade. It has to hit the 9063, and once it does, I'm in the trade. And then I follow it based on what targets I'm doing. And you'll see this one worked out pretty good on that one. It's probably either a 1 or 2 target that I had, and I'll show you that a little bit later. But I continue just go through here looking for places that I would most likely take a trade, and I mark those places that I would take a trade, and then I do that all the way through the end. So that's a good way of doing it. That's an explanation of how I do my back testing. Now what I'm going to do is put a video together showing you how I input this different information that we found on each one of these entries into a spreadsheet, and let the spreadsheet automatically tell me if it's a win, loss, what my win percentages are, what my profit factors are, and I'll get into that in part 2 here shortly. Hope this is helpful to understanding a little bit about back testing. You can do it with OTA strategy as well. You just got to be making sure you use your odds enhancers, your rules, stick with your rules, and then just move forward through time using the historical data that you have in front of you. You guys have a great day.